Well, we're watching that unfold here locally. If you don't know, our mayor and our county judge are passing things like the Paris Climate Accord.
Make sure we've got things set up here. Excellent. Great to see folks. We've got a lot of wonderful folks online at 6:59. We'll be starting in just a minute.
These elections for offices are vital to the citizens in our beautiful city here in San Antonio, our county, our great state of Texas, and the nation. It's with this in mind that we bring you this important event tonight. So to kick us off, I'm going to pass this on to Patrick Mondolan. Have him come up and lead us in prayer.
Okay, good evening. Let me make sure that we've got Brandon, if you'll make sure that we've got the live stream going. That'll be great. And wonderful. We are. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight on Zoom. It is really wonderful to see all of you this evening, and I am looking forward to seeing you at our state convention in Houston in July 16th through 18th. This is our second convention town hall update, and we will hold at least 2 other such updates as the state convention approaches. We want to keep our lines of communication open with you in real time as we are coming on the other side of the pandemic and discuss the progress of our convention planning in light of that. We held a convention town hall update a couple of weeks ago, and I appreciate the positive feedback from it. I aim for this town hall to provide you again an opportunity to have your questions answered directly and inform you of developments as they pertain to your planning. Regarding your questions, please feel free to include your question in the chat here on Zoom throughout the course of the town hall tonight. Kyle Watley will help moderate our town hall and get to those questions. Many of us are much more experienced with the Zoom now than we were 3 months ago. And because of that, we know how folks may accidentally forget to mute on their end, and we become privy to your private conversations or worse. For the good of the order, we have muted everyone so that everyone will be able to hear the information and the questions and answers, period. However, you will hear background noise, and the reason why you're hearing background noise is because I'm actually out live at an event going on with a bunch of great Republicans here in San Antonio. It's a fantastic event, and this was the only way we could make everything we needed to have happen this week work out. So I apologize for a little bit of the background noise you'll be hearing, but hopefully the microphone's doing a good enough job of differentiating between my voice and the background noise, and I will certainly be happy to reiterate or be more specific about what I say so that hopefully that takes care of that. We may be able to unmute like in a telephone town hall for specific questions, and we will try to do that later on. But for now, go ahead and include any questions you have in the chat. Thank you. So let's dive in. This past weekend was our 5th weekend of local conventions. Thank you to all our county chairs and temporary convention chairs for organizing these conventions and for, sorry, hang on, Louise. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but they're singing the Star Spangled Banner. That was really wonderful. What a great way to kick off this conversation. Certainly was wonderful, fortunate timing. Okay, so this past weekend was our 5th weekend of local conventions. Thank you to all our county chairs and the temporary convention chairs for organizing these conventions and conducting the business of the party as we travel the road to our state convention. Usually, of course, our local conventions happen essentially on one date in March, following the primary according to our rules. Now, while some counties and senatorial districts were able to do that because of their attendance size or the space they had available was compliant at the time, hundreds of conventions had to adjourn and move to a later date. I am so thankful to all our county chairs and temporary convention chairs for their incredible efforts to make that happen so smoothly and efficiently. It could so easily have come off the rails, but thanks to their execution, it did not, and we are now in our 5th weekend of orderly meetings, conducting business and electing delegates and alternates for our state convention. Some smaller conventions are being held during the week, and there are actually several tonight. Thank you all for making this happen. This rolling road to convention is exciting. To see our convention process on full display like this, we are the most grassroots party in the country, a true bottom-up party. Our rules are drawn that way. I have to credit the late Clint Moore from Senate District 7 and several others who were instrumental in working to make our party the most grassroots in the nation so that your voice is heard. From our platform to resolutions to rules to elected leadership, the decisions are yours. That is the bottom-up grassroots beauty of the Republican Party of Texas. We are not a top-down entity. We are not just a body of elected leaders in the executive committee. We are a true grassroots organization, and our convention process celebrates that and is what enables that. As you can see, we are excited by our convention and excited to see you in July. This week, we were also excited to announce our keynote speaker for the convention gala, former Governor Rick Perry. Many delegates and alternates have already been elected, and our registrations are showing those results. So I want to share a registration link with you. It's texasgop.me/register. texasgop.me/register. You can register right now for the convention, whether you've been elected as a delegate or alternate, or whether you intend to run to be a delegate or alternate as you await your convention. There's an option to say prospective delegate, prospective alternate, and we'll update those folks who register that way later. We will update those registrations. Hotel rooms at the Convention Center Hotel are still available, and we've been releasing them in batches so that those who have conventions later in June will still have access to prime locations. Should those rooms book up, there are many hotels in the area that are a quick car ride or a short walk from the convention center. We have tried to minimize costs for attendees and encourage you to find solutions that are cost effective for you also. So let me share an update on convention logistics with you. First, the Convention Center partners in Houston and our convention team at RPT, led by RPT Executive Director Kyle Watley, continue to be in communication nearly every day. The Houston partners are putting in overtime work on our adjusted plans to address the changes we are mutually putting in place to provide safety measures.
Chairman, we've had a bit of a technical glitch there, I think, with the crowds are out there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Actually, I was thinking this was a perfect time for me to hand it over to you. So can you, Kyle, would you go ahead and take some of the details around organization for the convention? Kyle? Kyle? Yeah. Kyle, can you hear me? Hello? Brand. So, Kyle? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm not sure how I lost Kyle, but I do want to be sure you hear me. So, Kyle Watley has continued to be in communication nearly every day with the convention center. Houston partners that we are working with have put in a lot of overtime. They're working specifically on the changes we're putting in place for safety measures such as social distancing, hand sanitizer stations, and the like. The Houston Convention partners have been solid and committed partners, and they've consistently told us that they are looking forward to our convention in July. We are working on diagrams of our meetings with the convention center and hoping to finalize the floor plans for the general session and the caucus meetings this week. There was a site visit today with our internal securities team and the convention center security team to prepare the venue. We have a commitment from a sponsor for 1,000 cloth masks in the event we need spares for those who wish to use them. To accommodate social distancing, we will be spreading out our caucus meetings throughout the convention center and into the Marriott Marquis Hotel. This is not unusual. We've held caucus meetings in convention hotels in the past, but it's usually because convention center did not have all the space we needed. This time, we just need more space to ensure social distancing for our larger caucuses. The Marriott has been very accommodating to us. None of this will come at any additional cost to delegates. There are a few items we discussed on our last call that I want to reiterate. If you feel sick, please do not attend. That isn't just restricted to COVID, that's for any illness. Second, paramedics and EMTs will be on site, as they always are at our conventions, given our size. They will be available to assist our attendees on site at any time. Another precaution we're taking is limiting the entryways into the convention space from the hotel and the street. Common areas will be cleaned many times throughout the day and a deep clean at night. And meeting rooms, including the general meetings, will be cleaned after every use. The exhibit space will have one-way foot traffic movement like some grocery stores and retail stores have done. And for the gala and worship service and congressional lunch and other ballroom events, we will have more space than usual, allowing for social distancing. Kyle, is there anything else you'd like to add or you'd like to share with folks about the gala or prayer breakfast or anything else?
Well, just like to reiterate that, we've got an amazing team of folks that we're working with, both on our arrangements committee as well as the convention center and the hotel. They are exceedingly grateful for us having our events at these locations. We are literally putting their people back to work by having our meeting, and they could not be more accommodating in trying to work with us to make all this happen. So there's an incredible amount of work going on with regards to making sure that we're going to have this convention run smoothly and safely from both the COVID perspective and any potential disruptions that folks might want to have. So just wanted to reiterate that we've got an amazing team working on this, and we're looking forward to a great convention. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kyle. We are going to take some questions, but we'll do that in a minute. Everybody remember, all this work we discussed has one objective in mind: delivering Texas's electoral college votes for President Trump in November and victories for all our candidates from the White House to the courthouses all across Texas. We are focused on winning in November and not risking any loss of momentum that risks victory. We are working very hard to provide our delegates with a convention experience to which they're accustomed and one that duly conducts the business of our party in person. So please take a moment to register now for the state convention. Go to texasgop.me/register and register. And then now, let's take some questions.
And he has written right and wrong in every person's heart, and they choose the truth or not. And
Okay, let's see. Kyle, have you looked?
Sorry about that.
through?
Yeah, I was on mute. I apologize. We've had questions about social distancing and how that's going to be enforced. Chairman, do you want to talk a little bit about that? I'm happy to add anything as you need.
Sure. So the biggest thing from social distancing is that we are providing for double the amount of space we usually are able to have, especially in the Senate district and congressional district caucuses. Those have historically been the meetings where you were snugged in, pretty much standing room only or seating room only. And it is our effort right now to make sure we have at least double that amount of room. So that's really the biggest single thing. Of course, as you heard, they're also instituting traffic flow through the booths. And we've also got more space out for all of the meeting rooms and the general session than we typically would have.
Thank you, sir. And there was also a question about masks. Somebody was asking about whether or not we were going to require people to wear masks.
We absolutely do not intend to and don't see any reason to require masks. However, we do ask everyone to respect each other's choices about that. So if anyone needs to wear a mask for their own sake or wants to wear a mask for others' sake, by all means, respect their choice to do so and give them some space. And as you heard, it sounds like we got a sponsor who's going to provide about 1,000 cloth masks. Now, that's not enough for everybody. So if you want to be sure to have one, by all means, bring your own. But that will provide some for folks who aren't able to bring them. Let's see. So we got a question about protesters. I would not be surprised if we have some protesters. And although most of the events I've been at where there were protesters, the protesters were outnumbered by the press. And the protesters were usually outnumbered by the counter protesters. But I would not be surprised if there were protesters. We have a security team, as you heard. The security team met today with the convention center security team. We are working with them. They are addressing those issues. We have full confidence in the folks we are working with and their ability to prepare our venue appropriately as we do each convention.
Great. And Chairman, we had a question about parking. I'm happy to answer that if you'd like.
Sure. Well, and a couple of people have said they've had some difficulty using the link. It is a short link through Bitly. If you mistype it for any reason, it'll send you to Bitly and say, oops, you can find it. It's texasgop.me/register. Nothing else, right? Just texasgop.me/register. That's a short one through Bitly, the shortener. If not, you can go to texasgop.org, look for conventions, go to state convention, go to register, then you can get there too. I was just trying to give everybody the short link. Sorry, Kyle, you were saying?
Sure. We had a question about parking, and I was just going to mention to folks that we've added a link onto the website that includes what would be familiar to most people who've ever used a Google map, and where you can zoom in and move the map around. There's little dots on there with a P marking that shows all of the parking around there, in addition to the garage that's at the convention center itself. And you can choose what distance might be appropriate for you, as well as the different costs at the different parking garages. So if you go to the convention website via our website, you'll see a map, an interactive map available there with all the options for parking in and around the George R. Brown Convention Center. And Chairman, we've also had a question about open carry, if you wanted to talk about the carry policy at the convention.
Yeah, absolutely. We believe in every individual's right to defend themselves, and we fight for constitutional carry. And so obviously we fight for open and concealed carry. in all of our efforts, including our management of the convention. And so the convention hall and the Hilton, did I get that right? No, the Marriott Marquis. The Marriott Marquis and the convention hall, which is the main hotel plus the hotel where any meetings are at, and the convention center. Both of them allow open or concealed carry for our convention.
And if you've chosen a hotel, in any of the other areas that on your own, you might just want to check with that hotel to see what their policy is.
Yeah. There was question about minimum age of delegates and how you qualify. So any Texas registered voter can qualify to be elected a delegate to the state convention, provided they did not vote in the Democrat primary and they did not participate in any other party's convention process. So if they participated in the Libertarian Party's convention process, they are ineligible. If they voted in the Democrat primary, they are ineligible. In any other scenario, if they are a current registered voter in Texas, and they either voted in our primary or they sign an oath of affiliation, recognizing that by participating in our convention, they give up the right to participate in anyone else's convention, then they are allowed to be a delegate.
Great, thank you, sir. And there was a question about bus service around the hotels and the convention center. We will also have a transportation document summary on our convention website, but they do have something called the Green Link, which is basically a shuttle service that travels continuously around downtown Houston, drops off at all of the major hotels around downtown Houston and the convention center continuously throughout the day. That will be available throughout the week. You will need to make alternative plans for Saturday, but that will be available Thursday, Friday, and if you're there earlier in the week, it will be available as well. And we'll have a link for that on the website, along with more information about transportation as well.
Chairman, Grace McDonald had a question about the committee processes this year and asked if the legislative process, grammar and corrections committees will be part of the process.
Brandon, you may need to repeat that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't really hear you on that one, Brandon. What about the committee process?
Grace McDonald asked if the legislative process, I assume legislative priorities, and the grammar and corrections committees would still be a part of the process this year.
So the convention is delegate run. So whatever rules the convention delegates decide, whatever rules the committees and the delegates vote into place, that is the rules that will govern our whole process. Obviously, people start from the last convention's set up as a baseline. It did seem that it went pretty well, but every convention is a new convention with a new body of delegates, and they are free to make decisions as they feel led. And again, my apologies for the clapping in the background. As I said, I'm actually out in San Antonio at a wonderful live a wonderful live campaign event for a whole bunch of great San Antonio folks. So my apologies for the background noise at the venue where I set up as best I could to minimize that noise. Let's see, what else do we have?
Chairman, I had a question that came to me about restaurants and food that would be available on site. There are a couple of restaurants, including a Papacitos and a restaurant called The Grotto, which is available right on site. There's a barbecue restaurant that is right there. In addition to the restaurants that are built into the convention center, we are working on setting up some food vendors, food carts in the back of the exhibit hall. There are also options to offer some sort of grab and go options. And for those coffee addicts out there, there is a Starbucks on the second floor. So just rest assured we have a Starbucks on site. But there are going to be several food options that include sit-down restaurants as well as grab-and-go items.
Great. I got a couple of questions about the national convention. So the national convention this year, our national rules require that the president, vice president be nominated in Charlotte, but the governor of North Carolina won't even guarantee that our delegates could come out of their hotel rooms if they got there, or go into their hotel rooms if they got there. So the national party is looking now to have alternative locations for almost all of the activities for the delegates. They are trying to figure out how to work with the rules committee, how to work with the platform committee. To be clear, we have 155 delegates and 155 alternates coming from Texas to the national convention. There will be 2 serving on the rules committee and 2 serving on the platform committee. There normally would be. So at most 4 of the people will be affected by whatever that process works out to be. For everybody else, there are about 5 locations that they're looking at nationally, including the DFW Metroplex. So the DFW Metroplex is one of the areas they're looking at. I have been repeatedly saying that if anybody can help pull off a huge convention in a crazy short period of time, in the middle of all this, Texas has proven that we are able to do it. But of course, a lot more goes into deciding where to have that event, and the national committee is working on that around the clock, I'm sure. But the process for running to be a delegate to national is still the exact same process. The delegates, 3 delegates, 3 alternates are elected in each of the congressional district caucuses, and then the at-large, the National Nominations Committee members elect the remaining, elect 44 members, and then we have 3 set members. So the 3 set delegates. So to be a delegate to our state convention, you need to be elected by your county or Senate district convention. And if your county or Senate district conventions already happened, you either are or are not a delegate or alternate. If it has not yet happened, you have a chance to run to become a delegate or alternate. In most counties and Senate districts, there's a nominating committee that you would want to talk to. There's probably an application you would want to submit. That's really how you end up being a delegate state or an alternate to state. And I can tell you from experience, whether you're a delegate or an alternate, the process is amazing. The experience is amazing, and being a part of the most grassroots up organization in the world is pretty awesome. Kyle, any other questions regarding convention planning or convention logistics we ought to address right now?
Chairman, I have read through the comments. So I think we've addressed everything, and I will just point out that if anybody has any additional questions, you can email convention. I'll put it in the chat here, convention@texasgop.org. That goes to a few of us in the organization. And if for some reason we missed your question, or if you think of something later, just email that to us and we will get back to you with an answer as soon as possible.
Yes, and if you would like information, text updates on convention, text convention to 72,000. Send the word convention to 72000, and we'll get you on our text list for convention, and you'll get all our text updates. So remember, our key objective is delivering Texas's electoral college votes for President Trump in November, and victories for all our candidates from the White House to courthouses all over Texas. Thank you for your patience as I'm coming to you live from San Antonio. I appreciate the team here doing their best they could to accommodate me in our town hall tonight. I appreciate all of you. And we look forward to seeing you in Houston during our state convention, July 16th to 18th. Thank you. And we will talk to you again on our next town hall in a couple of weeks. Thank you all.
See you in Houston.